Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. September 20th, 2017.
105 here on the great WRKO. Okay, the Kuhner Country poll question du jour, as the French would say, sponsored by Bill Kelly Financial Services. All 5 of Boston's professional teams, Patriots, Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox, and the Revolution, now say they face a common opponent, racism. In other words, there's too many racist fans. And so they now will be issuing PSAs during their games to tell all of you, stop with the racism. And so the Kuhner Country poll question of the day is this. Are you insulted by this? Is this degrading and demeaning to the fans and the people of Boston, Massachusetts, and really New England? If you believe the answer is yes, and I'm a yes all the way on this one, text the letter A to 680, 680. If you believe the answer is no, text the letter B to 680, 680. You can vote online at WRKO.com. Brittany, what are the poll results thus far?
96% yes, 4% no.
I'm just curious, Brittany. I know you're a big Bruins fan and a big Patriots fan. You go to the Bruins games.
Overall, I'm a huge Boston sports fan, Jeff, and I'm very disappointed in all of the sports teams. I don't think that, when I go to the Bruins game, I don't want to be lectured. That's why you go to sporting events and concerts, to get away from the politics and, your real life drama that you have to deal with every day, Jeff. And you go there to, have a good time and be with friends and your loved ones and enjoy a game, and you don't want that to be in your face when you go to a game. And you're spending a lot of money when you're going. So
now I'm just curious, I think you went to the Bruins, right? You went to the Bruins?
Well, we go often, and we spend a lot of money on tickets.
Didn't you treat if you don't mind me asking, didn't you treat your boyfriend to a couple of, no, you didn't, you're looking did he pay the tickets, or did you pay the tickets?
We go often,
All right, so you guys go, I'm just curious.
You spend a lot of money on tickets.
When you say, what's a lot? I mean, I don't want to pry into your...
No, the most that we spent is probably like $400 on tickets.
$400 on tickets?
Yeah.
And what's parking near TD Garden?
I don't know.
$40, $50? I
would say, yeah.
Plus concessions? You probably have a beer or a hot dog or something?
Yeah, it's expensive when you go.
You're looking at $500, $600, and you still got to listen to these guys blaring on the horn?
Exactly.
That you're a racist or your boyfriend's a racist?
Exactly. Who wants to deal with that when you go? So, I don't know. If that happens, I might not be attending any games, whether it's, the Bruins, whether it's the Patriots or the Red Sox. I don't know.
617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me throw, as I like to say, one more log on the fire. So, what you're seeing now is clearly Black Lives Matter hijacking increasingly the sports culture. Okay, the professional sports teams and now the 5 Boston professional teams. But this now is it's insidious. It's now spreading and making its way all the way down to youth football. And so now this phenomenon that we've been seeing at the NFL, whereby professional athletes, almost every team now, is protesting the national anthem, following Colin Kaepernick, following his example, by taking a knee or sitting on the bench to protest the national anthem and the American flag because this is a racist country. Okay, according to them, it's full of police brutality, white supremacy, white racism, blah, 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 blah. So, again, Black Lives Matter now goes onto the field. Well, now it's reaching 6, 7, 8-year-olds. Listen now to this story. And there's more. This is just one example, but this is now spreading, is proliferating. So this is out of Illinois, Belleville, Illinois in particular. There is a youth football team that on Sunday, all of the little munchkins, they're 8 and under, many of them 6, 7, 8 years of age, who play for the Cahokia Quarterback Club football team, they took a knee to protest what they said was the shooting and the murder of a black criminal by a white police officer in St. Louis, and then the police officer was essentially acquitted of all murder charges, and so they rioted in St. Louis over the weekend. Remember I talked about that story on Monday? Well, to protest what happened in St. Louis, the 6, 7, 8-year-olds took a knee while they played the national anthem, and in fact had their backs to the American flag. And according to the coach, Orlando Gooden, here's what he told a local Fox affiliate. He says this came from the kids. One of the kids asked me if I saw people protesting and rioting in St. Louis. I said yes. So he said, do you know why they're doing it? And he said that the players responded, listen to this, because black people are getting killed and nobody's going to jail. So he said this is like a teaching moment. And so he said he had the approval of all the kids and he had the approval of all the parents. And so he says, look, this is our First Amendment right. And we're going to, we're going to do this. And if people don't like it, too bad. Listen now to the coach in his own words. Roll it, Brittany.
One of the kids asked me, did I see them protesting and rioting in St. Louis? And I said, yes. I said, do you know why they're doing it? I felt like it was a good teaching moment for me to circle the team up and have a brief meeting. One of the kids asked, can we do that? Those are his words. And I said, as long as we know why we're doing it, I don't have a problem with kneeling. What I teach my kids is love, integrity, honesty, fairness, the respect, the ability of boundaries. As long as I have the support of my parents and my team, I'm perfectly fine. I'm covered under the First Amendment to peacefully protest and assemble.
Okay, now, a couple of points. I think this is sad, honestly. I think this is really pathetic. I think this is just, to me, this is almost a very sad story. Now they're indoctrinating 6, 7, 8-year-olds to imitate Colin Kaepernick and these other idiots in the NFL who are disrespecting our country, our flag, and our national anthem. This is really sad. These kids are being used. Now, a couple of points need to be made, and then I want to throw it to you, Kuhner Country. Okay, 617-266-6868. Number one, notice you can protest the national anthem. You can kneel. You can turn your back on the flag, but you can't pray. Did you notice that? Oh, the First Amendment. No, we can spit on the flag, but hey, don't you say a silent prayer, because you're gone, baby. Okay? But let that go. To me, the obvious point is this. Look, I love the flag. I love the national anthem. I think it's a great tradition in this country that we play it during professional sporting events or college sporting events. But I got to tell you, on one level, I'm reading this and I'm saying, these are 6, 7, the oldest I believe is 8. So these are 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. Why are they singing the national anthem at a little youth, a pee-wee, whatever, youth football game? I mean, I played football when I was 7, 8 years of age. We never sang the national anthem. You know why? Because we don't understand the national anthem. My Ashton is now 7. He could technically be playing. I mean, my Ashton A doesn't know the national. I mean, he knows it when he hears it, but he doesn't know all the words to the national anthem. He doesn't understand half of what's in the national anthem. So, on one level, honestly, I'm just saying, well, why are they playing the national anthem at a little kids' football game to begin with, to be honest with you? But let that go. The bigger issue is this. They're 6, 7, 8 years of age. Now you're going to indoctrinate them with Black Lives Matter race garbage? They don't know about the rioting in St. Louis. They don't know about what happened with the cop shooting that urban drug dealer and put him on a car chase. They have no understanding of what's going on in this country. They don't know about Black Lives Matter. They don't understand about Colin Kaepernick. They don't understand about so-called police brutality. They're kids. They can barely add at that age. I know. I was doing homework with Ashton last night. We're doing basic arithmetic. They have no idea about race, KKK, history of slavery, segregation, police brutality, whatever, Ferguson, Big Mike Brown, everything, civil rights. They have no idea what they're doing, what they're saying. They're simply now brainwashing and indoctrinating these kids. And most importantly, when the anthem is played, you stand up, you show respect, and you put your hand over your heart. Why? Because that anthem represents you. It represents your country, your nation, your homeland. That's why you respect it. That's why you stand for it. You know, in every other country in the world, they stand up for the national anthem. Why? You think every other country in the world is perfect? They got much worse problems than we do. It's easy to cherry pick and say, well, you know, hey, we got 25% unemployment. I'm not standing up for this flag. I'm not standing up for this national anthem. By not standing up to the national anthem, you are disrespecting every single one who died for our country, for the values that that flag and that anthem represents. But more importantly, believe it or not, you're disrespecting yourself. Because that flag represents you. Every single one of you. That national anthem represents you. And that the parents are okay with this? This shows you how divisive and how dangerous and how insidious Black Lives Matter and its anti-white, anti-American, anti-cop ideology has become. That's why the NFL should be forbidding this. Because kids look up to these players as role models. And now they're imitating the Colin Kaepernicks and the Michael Bennetts of the world. 617-266-6868. Let me ask you this. What would be your reaction if your child's football coach had the players take a knee during the national anthem? And do you think it's appropriate? 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Jay in New York. Go ahead, Jay.
Hi. Originally, I was calling about the previous topic. On this one, I just want to say you got to love how coaches blame the kids for their own political actions. But on the previous topic about lecturing people about racism, do you remember about a year ago there was a PSA about domestic violence where all the athletes and actors went on TV, put on a serious face and lectured us about how domestic violence was bad? Well, same with racism. Is there anybody for racism? I don't hear anybody standing out in defense of domestic violence. But anyway, when Ezekiel Elliott got suspended for 6 games for domestic violence, every sportscaster to a man defended him. And they said, oh, it's not fair, it's discrimination, even though the NFL had done their own investigation with photographs and evidence, and they suspended him even though they dropped the criminal charges. So the NFLPA and all the sports media defended him. And you don't see that PSA lecturing us about domestic abuse anymore.
Wow. Jay, phenomenal. Buddy, Jay, please call again. The hypocrisy of the NFL. The hypocrisy of these sports teams. I didn't even think about that. No, you're right. I mean, domestic violence is a huge issue, especially in the NFL. What was that guy, Ray Rice, who cold-cocked, what was that, his girlfriend? He cold-cocked her right there in the elevator. You saw it on video. Big slap on the wrist. Come on now. Move on. Nothing to see here. So if these guys are really serious about, stuff that their own players do, I love it. How about a PSA about domestic violence? No. It's not the players that need to be lectured. It's you. You. The ones who put money in their pockets and buy their tickets and make them multimillionaires. No. Enough is enough. Here's our PSA. Blank off. 125 here on the great WRKO. Okay, just a quick reminder. I have a devastating column on Elizabeth Warren. It is up on WRKO.com. Kuhner's Corner, confronting Elizabeth Warren, the question she fears most. It is a devastating expose. Please go to WRKO.com. You can read the piece and send it off to as many of your friends as possible. We have to get the truth out there. Okay, youth football players now, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids, are now taking a knee during the national anthem to follow in the footsteps of Colin Kaepernick, to say that they are now protesting racism in America. Right? Wrong? How do you feel about it? Aaron in New Hampshire, you're up next. Go ahead, Aaron.
Thanks for taking my call, Joe.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I wanted to call on the last topic, but can I address what you're talking about?
Go ahead. Shoot. Go ahead.
You know, I brought my 11-year-old nephew to a Celtics game. It was when Garnett and Pierce and everybody, you know, when the big three were playing, and we were 3 rows back. I'll tell you what, I didn't know what to do. Every other word was the N-word, and every other word after that was the F-bomb. And what do you know? A week later, when I saw my nephew and he's playing ball in the yard, guess what he was saying? So when these athletes actually lead by example and not just by words and what they hear in the media.
Oh, sorry, Aaron. So you're saying, Aaron. So you're saying the players were using the N-word and the F-bombs.
Oh, have you ever seen Garnett 3 rows back?
No, I've never seen a Celtics game, but so they were just.
It's like being in the prison yard listening to those boys play. It's unbelievable. It's like street ball that you'd see in New York. It's unbelievable. You never heard anything like it. And
Aaron, you're saying that then the kids began to imitate them, speaking like them.
Of course. When I was a kid, I wanted to be Michael Jordan. I mean, come on, you act. I mean, I wore the baggy pants. I wore the Jordans. I wore the black socks. You know, I mean, you emulate what your idols are. And unfortunately, when you see them up close and they're different than what you think it's acceptable to do it.
Aaron, great call. I agree with you. To me, I would clean that up, but that's just me. Nick in Weymouth. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know what? To answer your question, if it was one of my kids or grandkids, I would absolutely tell them you better be standing up. And the thing is, too, what would happen to them? They'd be ostracized, probably by some people, unfortunately. You got Antifa. Yeah, really. This is the Hitler. This is the Stalin. This is the Lenin. This is the Marxist philosophy. Tell the big lie, and they'll believe it. So they're anti-fascist. Oh my God, this is fascism. The ultimate goal in this particular case, they got prayer out of the schools. National anthem eventually will probably not be played at any sporting events. All right. And that will probably be by choice. The government can't say you can't, but it'll probably be by choice because it'll be politically correct. That's the way I see that's going. To do that to the youth, like you said, this is basically child abuse. Come on, this is the Hitler youth. Who do they think they're kidding?
You're right. It's brainwashing. I mean, really, they're brainwashing these kids. And Nick, I agree with you. I think the ultimate aim here is just that they got prayer and religion out of the schools. Now they're going to get the anthem eventually. We're just not going to sing it anymore. That's going to be too controversial. Mark my words. Colleen in North Andover. Go ahead, Colleen.
I think this is disgusting. It's no different than them teaching kindergartners and first graders about transgender and about sex. But if I can just revert to this topic you introduced us with of the public service announcement.
Yes.
This is tantamount to Starbucks writing us a little love message on our coffee about how we need to be racially cognizant. The only difference is the ante is much more expensive. You're talking about a $400 day. And the problem is the owners don't have the gonads to say we won't tolerate this, so they're pushing it back on us with the public service announcement. You know what? Everybody should stand up and boo. It is an insult to the intelligence of anyone with an IQ over 85. Ridiculous.
Colleen, don't get me wrong. I love my wife, but I love you in a non-sexual way. Amen, sister. Where have you been? Call again. 617-266-6868. Okay. Coming up next. Oh, you got to hear it to believe it. You got to hear it to believe it. You want a couple of really good laughs? If I teased it, you wouldn't believe me. So please hang on 5 minutes. This one, even by the Moonbat standards, you got to hear it to believe it.
WRKO, the voice of Boston.
Okay, my friends. So, all right, Kuhner Country, you want a good laugh. All right, here it is. Okay, now. So, this one we played for you yesterday. Okay, but this, trust me, I'm going to play this clip to set up the one that's just, because you're not going to believe me. All right, so I gotta set this thing up. So, as you know, I talked about this yesterday. Nancy, Chuck and Nancy, well, Nancy, the piranha, held a press conference in San Francisco to actually say it's time to sign the DREAM Act, right? To give amnesty to the so-called Dreamers. Well, the Dreamers showed up, about 100 of them, and they shouted her down. Roll it, Brittany.
Hey, stop it. Just stop it now. Just stop it now. Just stop it now.
Just stop it. Just stop it now. Stop it. Stop it. So, of course, right, the Moonbats are beside themselves. We don't understand something. I mean, why are the Dreamers shouting down Pelosi? I don't understand this. Why are they mad at us? I mean, we're trying to give them amnesty, for Pete's sake. So why would they be shouting her down? So, in pops in Democratic Senator from New Hampshire, Jean Shaheen, that fraud and Moonbat. And so she goes on CNN. And of course, CNN is like, we don't understand this. I mean, we brought in the illegals. We love the illegals. We're trying to give them amnesty. Why? Why are they shouting? Why are they shouting Pelosi down? Listen now. If you're driving, be forewarned. I don't want you to crash the car now because you're going to laugh so hard. Listen to this one. This one's unbelievable. Listen to Shaheen's answer.
Why is she, of all people, getting this backlash from Dreamers?
Well, listen, Dreamers, young people across this country are frustrated because they came to the country through no fault of their own. They were brought by parents. They want to contribute to this country. They want to go to college. They want to join the military. They want to get jobs and be Americans, which is what they are. This is the only country most of them have ever known.
But she's trying to protect them. I mean, she's the person who's pushing the president to help, right?
Well, she is. And I think the good news is that we've heard from both Republicans and Democrats who believe that we need to do something to protect the Dreamers. And that's what I'm certainly going to continue to work on.
But again, I'm just confused about why they're holding Nancy Pelosi at fault here. Do they not like that she's working with the president to do this?
Listen, you'll have to ask them. Who knows who's stirring up this kind of animosity. What we know about the Russians and their interference in the 2016 elections is that they tried to increase divisions within this country. We saw it again in Charlottesville. So we don't know what's behind this, but what we do know is that we need to take it.
Brittany, play that last part again. The Russians were behind it. The Russians, Vladimir Putin.
Listen, you'll have to ask them. Who knows who's stirring up this kind of animosity? What we know about the Russians and their interference in the 2016 elections.
The Russians. Putin he put the Dreamers up to it. I swear, you couldn't. I told you wouldn't believe me. If I tease this, you'd say, "Nah, come on, Kuhner's BSing now." Dimitri, okay, what we need to do now to save Donald Trump now, we have to save our agent in the White House. Okay, get all those Mexican kids that came here illegally with mama and papa. You've got to have them go to these, what do they call it in America now? Dimitri, I told you, stop with the vodka, okay? It's only 12 o'clock at noon, for God's sakes. What they call that? Presser, yes, a press conference, a presser. Pelosi is going to hold a press conference. Let's pull the strings of the Dreamers, and they're going to show up. No, Dimitri. They don't go with vodka. They go with bullhorn and they yell and scream. That's what they do. And we're going to shout her down. That's how we do it here. Okay? Oh, by the way, she was even implying that the Russians were behind Charlottesville.
And you'll have to ask them. Who knows who's stirring up this kind of animosity? What we know about the Russians and their interference in the 2016 elections is that they tried to increase divisions within this country. We saw it again in Charlottesville. So we don't know what's behind this.
Sure.
But what we do know is that we need to take action to protect the Dreamers, to allow them to stay in.
But maybe Putin wants the Dreamers here. Maybe you're all being outsmarted by Vlad on this one. Now, let me tell you, in all honesty, okay? I said this to the program director in our pre-show meeting. I said, Michael, let me be very candid with you. I know it's an opinion show. I know I have my opinions and audience has theirs, and that's just the way it is. But if I went on the air and I said that the Dreamers shouted down Nancy Pelosi because they were acting on behalf of the Russians and Vladimir Putin, and that Vlad made them do it, I said, you know what Brittany would do? She would walk straight to upper management. And she'd say, look, I'm sorry, he's got to go. The guy, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the kids are driving him nuts. He's lost his mind. He's crazy. He's got to see a doctor, see a specialist. He's got to get institutionalized. I don't know what it is, but he's got to go. And I'm just a talk show host. I mean, she's a sitting U.S. senator from New Hampshire. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, talk about a tinfoil hat. Okay. So, it's not just Jean Shaheen. Listen now to this. So, as the backlash against the DACA amnesty grows, and it is growing, and the more facts come out, the more evidence comes out, the more the truth comes out, now the left in particular, all of the open borders amnesty people, now they have to ratchet up the argument. So now they're not just, notice now, by the way, they're all infants. Like they came here as infants, in strollers, just literally, they were brought like they were brought in like a month old. They were just like little babies, just smuggled over the border. So now they're actually comparing their plight, I swear to you, to now Jews in Nazi Germany. So listen now, this is the number 2 guy at the Democratic Party. This is the vice chairman of the Democratic National Committee. He's the second most powerful guy at the DNC. Representative Keith Ellison, the first Muslim member of Congress, who, by the way, was sworn in on a Quran. So, listen now to Keith say, hey, if you look at the Dreamers today, they're like the Jews under Hitler. Roll it, Brittany.
Exactly the target. Therefore, it is our responsibility to stand up, fight, and do the right thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm one of the people who believes we should give our neighbors sanctuary. And if you ask yourself, what would I do if I was a Gentile in 1941 if my Jewish neighbors were under attack by the Nazis? Would I give them sanctuary? You might be about to find out what you would do. Will you pass that moral test, or will you fail it? This is the time for people who truly have faith and belief in their heart to step up and demonstrate it.
There you go. What would you do? Would you have saved the Jews in World War II? Because Keith Ellison says now's your chance to prove it. You have to save the Dreamers. If I teased this, you wouldn't believe me. So this is the number 2 guy. So I want you to think about this, okay? He is literally comparing, the plight of the Jews under Adolf Hitler to the so-called Dreamers, the illegal immigrants, who, by the way, most of whom came here 14, 15, 16 years of age, most of whom now, by the way, are 26. Their average is 26 years of age. Many of them are actually now in their 30s. Okay, so they're not children, but let that go. Let that go. Now, I don't even know where to begin. Number one, the Dreamers are illegals. They were brought here by their parents illegally. The Jews in Europe were all there legally. In fact, take the Jews of Germany. They had been there for centuries. That's just point number one. Point number two, now again, maybe I'm missing something, and maybe you can, you, the great audience of Kuhner Country, maybe you can educate me. Is anybody planning to round up the Dreamers and send them to concentration camps? Because the way Keith Ellison's talking, they're heading straight to Auschwitz. I mean, they're going to be sent straight to the gas ovens. So they're actually comparing people who were rounded up and annihilated, sent to concentration camps, 6 million of them, to illegal immigrants who are going to be deported? Potentially. In fact, they're not. They're going to get amnesty. I'm almost sure of it, but let that go. So, deporting illegal immigrants is like sending the Jews to the death camps. In Keith Ellison's mind. And this, to me, is really rich. This guy who says he wants to help his Jewish neighbor. This guy who has a history of anti-Semitism, who, in fact, his comments against the Jews is one of the reasons why he didn't win the race to be chair of the DNC. This guy who supports rabid anti-Semites like Louis Farrakhan. This guy who coddles the Muslim Brotherhood. This guy who apologizes for Muslim terrorists and Palestinian terrorists. And this guy is now comparing the illegals in America to the Jews under Hitler. I mean, just when you thought you've seen it all, the moonbats show you, no, you haven't. 617-266-6868. Okay, lines are blazing. Paula in Nashua, New Hampshire. Go ahead, Paula.
Hi, Jeff. How
Hi.
are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. First of all, Jeff, let me just say, being Jewish, I'm insulted by him, and I'm so glad I am not a Democrat anymore. I am not, and I will never go back to that party again. And that's supposed to be the party of being sincere. No sincerity here. Second of all, I'm embarrassed that Jean Shaheen is my senator. I was embarrassed when she was my governor. It's time that we remove these people from Washington. She is the swamp of the swamp and the sewer. You know, Jeff, it's just sad what's happened to this country. It is disgraceful. You know, us patriots really need to take our country back. We really do.
Paula, Paula, let me ask you this, because you sound like a very smart, very intelligent, articulate woman. Yesterday, when I did my monologue on the Piranha, on Nancy Pelosi and the Dreamers, and if I said to you, with a straight face on the air, I said, guys, really, I think the Russians were behind this. I think Putin was behind this. What would you'd say, Kuhner's cracked. You'd say, Brittany, he's got to go. Lock this guy up, institutionalize him. Send him away, would you not?
I would. But, Jeff, I met you on the stage in February, right before the primary. I did the opening speech for Trump.
Yes. Paula, I remember you. Yes.
Yeah, that's me. And I did one more after that, right before the general election for our great president.
Paula, God bless you.
Jeff, God bless you too, because, without you on the radio, people won't be getting the facts of what's going on here. And again, it's disgraceful. Look at what I have in New Hampshire. I got Hassan and I got Shaheen, two former female governors that don't do anything to help women.
And Paula, two crooks. Both of them stole their elections.
Exactly, and it's sad. And this is what our country has come to. And it's my husband is a Vietnam vet, and he has been spitted on by the government. And it's sad. We don't embrace our military. We don't say thank you enough to them and our law enforcement. There's good and bad in everything. But right now, I can't find too much good in Washington other than our president and a few congressmen and senators. But that's very far and few between. It's time that if the Democrats are smart, they're going to steal this next election. If the Republicans are brilliant, they will claim the election. But I can't see brilliance on the Republican side anymore. They
Paula,
just
thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Paula. Thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Okay, let me ask you this double-barrel question. Number one, is Gene Shaheen crazy? And number two, is Keith Ellison crazy? Your calls next.
Listen, you'll have to ask them. Who knows who's stirring up this kind of animosity? What we know about the Russians and their interference in the 2016 elections is that they tried to increase divisions within this country.
156 here on the great WRKO. Okay, let me ask you this. Let's put it this way. Who's crazier, Gene Shaheen or Keith Ellison? 617-266-6868. Okay, here's a text from my own wife, Dr. Grace. Okay, so she wants me to change the vocabulary. Quote, here's what she texts. Jeff, don't call them dreamers. Call them border jumpers. They are baby border jumpers, child border jumpers, teen border jumpers, and parent border jumpers. Change the vocabulary. That's a very good point. Bob in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Bob.
I heard you talking in the Jean Shaheen and her remarks on CNN. And last night I saw our other junior senator make some stupid remarks on the floor. These people are just idiots. I can't. It's like, where are they coming from? You know, there's laws on the books. If you just enforce the laws, everything's taken care of.
Bob, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do for a living?
I work. I'm an office purchasing agent.
Okay, Bob. Whenever anything goes wrong, you just say it's Vladimir Putin's fault. No, really. Just say, like my senator says, no, the Russians are behind it. Don't blame me. No, don't blame me. Blame Vlad.
The owners of the company would love to hear that.
Take care, Bob.
I appreciate it.
Bobby in Saugus. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, Jeff, to answer your question, neither Gene Shaheen or Keith Ellison are crazy. The people that listen to them and follow them are crazy. Those are the crazy people.
Bobby, did you ever think in your life that a senator would go on television and when illegal immigrants shout down the House Minority Leader, by the way, almost all of them are Mexican, that a senator would say, Vladimir Putin and the Russians were behind it? Did you ever think you would hear that in your life, Bobby?
I never thought I would hear that, but I'll tell you, the look on Nancy's face was priceless. She was shocked.
Bobby, thank you very much for that call. Lou, I've got 1 minute. The floor is yours. Go.
Okay, this is about Ellison. Look, the bottom line is I taught Holocaust studies for a couple of years, and the fact of the matter is for him to do that is disgusting. Jews went back to certain death. These immigrants, if they go back to Mexico or wherever they're from with a few $1,000s, they'll be heroes. They'll be able to buy houses. The thing is that it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the great Democrat, that not only interned the Japanese, but whose Undersecretary of State, Breckinridge Long, actively kept Jews from coming into the United States, even when they knew about the Holocaust, and they refused to bomb the concentration camps. And these are Democrats bringing this up. It's disgusting, and he's a racist. He's an anti-Semite, and he's been so pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel that he's got some nerve to say this.
Lou, thank you for that call. Look, Keith Ellison's a Jew hater. I mean, that's what I find incredible. I'm listening to him, I'm like, Keith, I don't know how to tell you this, but World War II in Hitler's Europe, you'd be cheering the Nazis on. Coming up next, should we get rid of the A to F grading system? Liberals now say yes.
The voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 2 o'clock.